Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Now, I have been playing a little bit of Ark. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing a lot of Ark. And in this time, I have been missing this game of all games more than ever. So I'm actually gonna compare the two. And obviously, if I am being me, I'm gonna go straight to my big base because I love that base. And I know how it works because it's ridiculous. So here's everything that I'm going to compare. I'm actually going to compare Ark Survival Evolved directly to Valheim. And here's the shocking thing. I'm actually thinking that Valheim is slightly better. And yeah, if anybody says that I'm crazy, I'm absolutely with you. I'm crazy. I don't know how I think Valheim is better than Ark. Because Ark is a bigger game. There's more to it. How can I see Ark as a better game not better than this game, which is so weird to say the least. Oh, oh, this one is the one with the arch. Out of every single one, I have to get that. So anyway, let me just get up onto the roof. Can't believe I did it in one shot without a stamina potion. There we go. Up on top with the egg. There we go. Sitting down inside the egg. Okay, perfect. So let's get to this. So let's compare the differences between Ark and Valheim. If we want to compare it, we have to go with the first thing that everybody sees, and that is visual. Now, please bear with me. This is a fair opinion that I'm about to give on the two. I'm not about to make it biased because I like this game so much, so please hold that in mind when I go through this. If I have to rate Valheim on its graphics, I would rate Valheim a solid 5 out of 10 for graphics. And if I were to rate Ark Survival Evolved, I would rate Ark's graphics at 10 out of 10. Now, that is just because of the fact that the resolution, the designs, their models, the amount of creatures, the biomes, the environments are immaculately well done. The difference between the two is these are random generated in Velheim, and those are fixed in terms of Ark. You can't cultivate or break down the landscape. There's nothing that you can do to the landscape directly. So whatever is there is permanent. Now, that is where I stop with really praising Ark. Ark has a fantastic amount of graphics. But let's get on to the next part. How about user experience? The user experience in Ark, if you're playing vanilla, is long, tedious, and pretty much a massive grind. RNG plays a huge part of the game, which is just absolutely insane to think of. And taming takes forever. It takes hours to tame anything. The progression through to be able to tame faster takes months to achieve. And beyond all of that, things just don't work out very easily for people playing Ark. And that reminds me, wrong menu, right menu. Mm, I wanted to see what new things were added. So it doesn't look like anything has been added in that section. Green banner, red banner, nothing new there. No, nothing has been added. I'm pretty sure there was a massive update with new things added to the building. some changes in the graphics. But anyway, let's get to the user experience. So Ark's entire play is extremely grindy. The downside with Ark is it's a multiplayer, and no one person can play all of Ark on their own without using admin commands to help them through. Plus, there's the whole thing about using mind wipes that you can craft items, and that is just a whole lot of nonsense. If you play it by vanilla rules, it's only 2 mind wipes per character. So if you play it with 2 mind wipes, that means after your second mind wipe, you can't do anything ever again. So you only will be able to know what you have at that time in terms of engrams, which means you have to go around looking for blueprints, and blueprints must make up the majority of what you know. And once you have all your blueprints, then you must mind wipe, learn everything that you don't know, and hope that everything is covered by blueprints, which is insane because some items require a prerequisite of an item which is lower down, and the moment you do that, you end up spending 40 or 50 in an instant just to craft up a replicator or something like that, and those are heavy knocks to everything that you learn. So that's one thing about the whole experience in Ark. It is a massive knock to experience. Now let's talk about Valheim, the user experience. The user experience in Valheim is frustrating at times. I will not deny that it is very frustrating. But the one thing that Velheim has for it is, even if you complete the story mode of fighting, there are still multiple aspects for you to do. There's raiding, there's farming, there's defend against the raids, there's fighting enemies. There's so many variants of everything that you can do. And when I say building, I mean I love building castles, and this is my last formal castle build in the game. I do plan to build another massive one in the collaboration series, but that is the collaboration series on Havoc server. You're just gonna see me doing it non-stop in the next few weeks, to be honest. And I have been using the hoe, the pick, the axe like crazy on Havoc server, and that's just another thing which is going on the other side. I haven't been on Havoc server in about 3 weeks due to illness, but that's a whole other story. But nonetheless, when it comes to Valheim, although you have all those elements and the grind is a grind, it isn't taking away from your experience. When you fight and you lose skills, it isn't taking away from your experience. You just have to gain that little bit back to get that little bit of speed, that little bit of efficiency, that little bit of damage boost to what you're doing. And it's not like it's something which you can't do without. Most of us can zero out all of our skills and run around with a shield and a hammer, and we can fight as good as ever. Or we can run around with a shield and a sword. And I think that the punishing level of the game is just perfectly suited for what it is. Now, moving on from this, there are a lot of things that definitely need to be questioned and answered, and one by one I will go through whatever I can. So the next thing, which is a big thing in Valheim and Ark, is the content that you actually have. Now, I didn't rate those two because content and user experience are going to flow together. Ark's content is extremely limited. I know there's a ton of lore in the form of notes, and you level up over time and your levels are permanent. But just listen to this. Everything that you do in the game is to follow along with the story, and you can do everything and avoid completing the story if you so wish. While in Velheim, if you don't do the story, it doesn't really matter, because the story is told to you from the moment you enter. You already know what you're doing on this world, what you are doing here. And if they do have a DLC, it will be for us to pull through to the next Velheim, or the next server, Valhalla, or the Depths of Hell, or Schmagenrock, or whatever they're gonna call it if they do go for anything. I'm taking it from another YouTube series that is sitting on my mind very heavy, Schmagenrock. That's from Viva la Dirtly. I know it's coming out from a game, I just don't know which game. But nonetheless, all of these things are things which make this game so much more fantastic. And the roleplay, the survival of this game, especially since you don't have to worry about food, you can die from not eating in Ark. I can AFK here for hours without worrying about what's going to happen to my character. There is something which Valheim has over Ark. And in terms of the content, if you decide to go down the story mode, the story is doable for you at each level so that you can progress to another level. And when you reach the edge of a level, you have to kill the boss to progress forward. There is no, I'll just work on becoming better on the side. You have to kill the boss to go to the next level. There's no way I can survive out here in the plains without killing Muda. And if I want to go on to the next territory, I'm going to have to kill the next boss. And I think that that is a wonderful thing to this game. It gives another element of competition and another element of progression. The bosses aren't just there as an optional extra. What they have isn't just something optional, it's something major, it's something that makes a difference to your gameplay. That blast furnace, the black steel items, they make a difference because once you have it, you feel overpowered in the lower areas. I can go and sit in the black forest right now with my gear and they can barely scratch me. I can sit around and get around with just berries if I wanted to, and there's nothing that's going to hurt me. I could eat a little bit of cooked meat every once in a while and nothing is going to interfere with me. There's no spoil times in this game, which I think is a little bit on the downside. They might be able to add it in, and that is the other thing. Velheim isn't complete. Its content, as far as I'm describing it, is so complex. But if I have to describe Ark's content, you tame a few dinos, you learn engrams as you level up, you play as a team, you can't play it solo if you're playing it vanilla, and once you have everything done, then you can choose to fight the bosses should you choose to get tech. And once you get tech, you can keep progressing through the bosses to earn element at an extremely slow rate, which you can only get from killing the bosses. This is a start for someone who starts with the story where you're supposed to be. So if you're starting on the island with no Genesis, no Extinction, none of the other maps learned items, you're not going to get any element. You're not going to get anything further than whatever you can on that map. And the only way to get element is to fight the bosses. So you have to fight the bosses to get element. You have to breed up armies. You have to tame that have good stats. And if a stat is randomly better than what you already have, you have to redo the entire breeding process till the stats are incorporated into your tame perfectly so that you have the perfect creature to take into a boss fight. And that is the one thing, there's too much of an RNG favor to Ark. Ark is too much of RNG to your favor. Valheim is absolutely a user experience. Each and every map is totally different. No matter what, I can start another map right now and I will have a different experience from where I am right now. I can start a brand new character and I can go through all of this progression just to get to the same state. And I'll enjoy myself, to be honest. I know it's going to be tiring, I know it's going to be frustrating, and I am thinking of doing it eventually, restarting from scratch. With all of my experience, I suspect I'll make quick work of it. I'll level through everything as fast as I need to. And when I say level through everything, I mean I'm going to know how to get around the swamp. I'm going to know how to get around different areas. I'm going to know where to mine, how to mine. I'm going to learn all my tricks. And that's exactly what it's all about. It's something that can translate over to the next one. Then you have Ark. If you start over fresh on a new Ark, there's a possibility of you never learning an item from another map. You have to keep moving the character from map to map to map, otherwise you will never progress forward. Your progression on each map is set to what you have learned from the previous map, and you need the previous maps in order to get to maximum level. That on its own is a nightmare to think about because I would never want to do that for the sake of a game. It's too much of a grind. And that is where I think that I am going to give the rating. Now, this is the full content and user experience, everything put together. I will rate Ark a 4 out of 10. Now, I'm not being mean to Ark. Ark has such a limited spectrum play. The maps linked together, yes, there's a lot of space for you to go through. There's a lot for you to experience. But it doesn't have that element of this is my skill, I can restart all the time and I can do this. It's not a restart game. You're going to play with one character forever. There's no way that it's fun to restart your character. There's not even a chance that it's going to be good. And there's no way you can play a crazy mode like never die because you will die in Ark. There's no way you're not going to die. I know people have made it 300 days on the Ark without dying. You can do the same thing with Valheim. You can try and see how long you can go without a death, but you're going to die in Valheim eventually. There's poison damage, there's all of these things, and you can play it with no transports, no jumps. All those things make a difference to how you play. Let's see, yeah, I've got 8 minutes of rested buff. Okay, that's sweet. I can do that on my roof. I did not know that. So anyway, those are all the things that make Valheim an amazing game. Oh, sorry, that is what Ark has to it. Its limitations are leaving it at 4 out of 10. Now, Valheim, on the other hand, I am gonna rate its content a solid 9 out of 10. Now, yes, I know I could give it a 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10 is, I think, very generous on what I'm giving Valheim. Valheim should get an 8, but since I feel that just with the way it goes to this point in the game, I feel like it's more than enough for me to play forever on this map. And saying that, I know that some people are going to be like, no, that's crazy, you can't think that this is the end of the game, and it's so... But that's exactly how I feel. I feel like they've done enough to make this game interesting. There's 6 biomes that we really can't play in properly. The 7th and 8th biome are totally crazy. The 9th biome is also something crazy altogether, but they're not complete. They haven't filled them or generated everything. Actually, wait, no, I think I've overcounted. It's meadows, black forest, swamps, plains, ocean, mistlands, the desert, the far north, and the far south. I'm not sure what the far north and far south are called. I know they had a different name when I was speaking to Grumcore. And yeah, that's everything that I have to say about it. This game is just so fantastic with just this limited 5 out of 4 more to come. I'm not even being sarcastic about this here, but this game is unbelievable. If this game gets another area added, I still have to keep rating it 9. And I know why I'm saying I shouldn't rate it 9, because rating it 9 means that it's extremely well done. It doesn't need anything more, and it does need a little bit more, to be honest. The game time that you have isn't remarkably huge. The community aspect of the game hasn't yet been flushed out. Large villages cause problems and things like that there. Those things still can be fixed. And it is in early access, just like how Ark was in early access when people were having problems with it. And that's when they came out with their flyer nerf, where they nerfed the flyers away from being able to be leveled up in speed. It's where they came up with a lot of their rules on transporting and teleporting between maps. And those are the things which made the Ark experience what it was in that time. And the Valheim experience is still fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. Yes, I know I have a dragon's egg on top of my head here. But nonetheless, I'm going to fight all the bosses soon. So I am going to go and kill Yaklov. And once I've finished killing Yaklov, which is how I'm calling him for now, I am going to go and I am going to do all of the bosses one more time, just for fun in the series. The next time that you see me playing the series, this character will be going through to a new map. But the only catch is, he's taking nothing with him. There will be no bows, no picks, no swords, no axes, none of the gear is coming with him. He is just going over to a new server, starting fresh, building up everything from scratch. And that is going to be the most fun thing. It doesn't impact the game negatively, because I can do everything regardlessly. I have to kill the first boss no matter what I do, just to get the antler. I need to kill the third boss no matter what, just so that I can get the wishbones. I might have to kill the second boss to get the swamp key. It's the only catch on that whole this thing. You can still get iron from inside the swamp. I don't think I ever showed that. But if you run around with the wishbone, you can end up getting iron. And that is going to be some of the most fun that I'm going to try. And obviously you can get past everything without going to Muda, because you... Oh no, you do need to get Muda to get the artisan table. So it looks like I would still have to kill all the bosses. But nonetheless, it's going to be just the same. It's going to be the same progression. You're going to start in the meadows. You're going to build a starter base. You're going to make it as big as possible. You're going to go to the Black Forest. And as you heard from the devs, the more you prep for a battle, the better it is. Making a base that the boss can't touch you in isn't cheating. It's part of how the game is supposed to be played. So if I go and I do that and I make a massive base in the Black Forest next time, that's going to be fantastic. I'm going to do it. I'm going to raise up the ground and I'm going to build a huge fortress in the Black Forest. Unlike what I did this time, it's going to be even bigger than anything I've built. Obviously, I have plans for it. But nonetheless, in the start, it's going to be made out of wood, so it's not going to be all that amazing. And then when I upgrade it to its stone variant, you'll understand why I said I was going to go through all of that just to get that done. But yeah, that's just the basics on what's to come in the future. And you will see me go through a ton of building, breaking things down, repairing things in that other series. Now, when it comes to Ark is still an ongoing thing. I'm a little bit down with the whole story of Ark, but that's the whole thing. That's how I'm rating them for now. I can't give it 10, as I said. That's the reason. And as you can see, I'm really loving on Velheim. The next thing which I would rate the experience on is the addictiveness of the games. Now, obviously, you know that I gave Velheim a bad rating for graphics in the start. And I also gave Ark a very bad rating in terms of content, because its content isn't really all that fun. The recent editions of Genesis with the missions are tedious, pointless, and really irritating to say the least. I've played them. They're full of glitches. They're full of lags on release, and this isn't like it's early access release. These are things that they have in the works for months. They delay releases and all these things, and they still come out with bad content. We know that Valheim, if they have a release, they will delay it no matter what, right? Provided it's ready, they will give it to us. And just look at this. This is a starter base, basically in terms of quality. And this is the quality that you will get no matter what you do in Valheim. This is something on another level altogether. Let me just put away this hammer before I end up making a mistake. You only have 8 hotkeys. Eventually they might extend it to 10. And that's going to be something else. And they might add more mechanics and more tools and more weapons to the whole mix. Because the weapons are so amazing. Let me just show you my inventory. Oh, sorry. I'm forgetting that this isn't Ark. I hit I. As you can see, there's this group combat weapon. You can hit easy hordes with the big hammer. It works fantastic for you. Then there's the mace. It's a nice hard hitting, quick swinging weapon. You can use it for blunt damage and quick clubbing at a higher level. There's the Atagear. The Atagear is a long axe-like defensive weapon. You can use it to keep a nice radius around you. I've used it several times. It's fantastic. Then you get the Abyssal Harpoon. The harpoon is fantastic. You can use it to toss it across great distances, pull creatures with you, and your stamina is the only thing that's required to keep them tethered. The other thing about this which makes it fantastic is it does damage, so you can use it to farm birds and so forth. It's one of the easiest weapons to use because it doesn't spook creatures. Then you've got the cultivator for farming, which isn't a weapon but it is an item. Then you get the hoe for cultivating land and terraforming land. You get the building hammer, which is the same story. Then you get the regular hammers. The hammers are a fantastic thing. This is Frostnir. It is the only hammer. It's basically an upgrade of the club. And another fantastic weapon. It has elements of mythology into it. You have the shield. It's a nice solid shield. It has a big block power, as you can see, and a massive parry force. And parry bonus is 1.5 times when you use this item. So if I parry someone, I get 1.5 times boost against them. There's axes. Axes are both a tool and a weapon. There's the sword, a fantastic weapon, and it is also the fastest use in any one of the weapons. That's its big function. So if you have quick and irritating enemies, this is the item to use. The next thing is you've got pickaxes. There are 3 variants throughout the game, if I'm correct. Well, yeah, you get the standard, you get the bronze, and you get the iron pickaxe. Fantastic. They help you move through and progress through the game. They're a good weapon. They also can be used to hit enemies. And the last thing that you have is the Draugr or the bow class of weapons. There are multiple bows till you reach the Draugr, but here's everything I have to say about the bows. The bows have a good draw time, they have a fantastic amount of power, and what I've done in this game is build huge fortresses everywhere that I went because they have the ability to use the portals. Now, because of the portals, I did do a little bit of cheatiness in this game. It is one of the only downsides to gameplay is the travel time with items. I do understand how people say it doesn't make that much of a difference, but I am on the side that it is pointless because you can jump across the map, but you can't carry your material with you just because it's metal. And metal sinks to the bottom of the ocean if you should lose your ship. So if you end up in a longboat, an iron longboat, and you travel across the ocean, and all of a sudden you get attacked by a sea monster, you can end up losing your boat and all the metal on board. Along with all of that, you're never going to recover whatever you used to make the boat. So it's a big loss, and the only thing you can recover is your gravestone. So your gear can come back, but nothing else, and you can repair it cost free. It seems like a little bit too much of an increase in difficulty for something so pointless. Just to move things around the map, and only one item at that being the metal ores or the metals themselves. So yeah, that's the only downside to the gameplay. In Ark, where do I get started? You have a limit to everything you can do in Ark. The lag builds up and gets worse and worse in Ark no matter what you do. Breeding is a problem because the more creatures around, the more likely you are to lag. The bigger the bases that you build, the worse the lag gets. And base sizes in Ark need to get bigger and bigger as you increase the number of teams you have because you'll have a limited breeding process if you don't have big enough taming areas, which becomes kind of pointless. The next thing to that whole mess of issue that I'm talking about is things just don't go well when it comes to playing things in Ark. There's disconnects when you play on official servers. When you play on non-official, there's limited range for players. You can only play within a certain range of the person who's hosting the server. So you'll all have to work as a team non-stop. And it makes that whole idea of searching the entire Ark, finding tames, a pointless operation. And that's the thing, Ark is built like that. It's not a single player mode. It doesn't have a 2-player mode. I can start up my server and like you've seen before, Lexi can be in a different part of the map where I've never been before and I can be sitting at my base and it makes no difference. He can go around and swim across the oceans, he can fight a horde of creatures, it doesn't affect me. Yes, there is a certain irritation level to the creatures in Velheim. Some of them are really overpowered for what they are, like the Death Skeeter in particular, and they have irritating mechanics. Preparation, as I said, is everything in this game, so the more you prep, the more you build, the more you do all those things, the better things get for you. And to be honest, it has a vibe of more than just Ark in it. The only thing that's missing from this game to give it the Ark vibe is dinos, and even if we do get tames, I don't think tames with usability are a good idea. I think being able to set the locks onto a creature just like you can the wolf is fine, but the way that they are right now is just perfect. They're not overpowered, they're not unbalanced, and I think that we have a good flow with how things are going in Valheim at the moment. No need to mess up what you already have. So that's going to be all that I have to say about the game for now. I will catch you all in the next... Oh wait, no, I haven't yet finished it. The final and the most important mark on the two games. How long will they stand the test of time? Velheim is built with minimal graphics in terms of its appearance. Its AI is severe enough and made so that you will have to move worlds at some point or the other. And that is a fantastic thing for Velheim. While Ark has a fantastic amount of graphics for its current time, it's been made with the pinnacle of graphic technology that could be used to make it, and that is the problem. It will not stand the test of time. I can play Battle for Middle Earth 2 anytime I want to, because that game is a classic. It's timed in that exact manner that it was built. It will work perfect no matter what I do against it. But Valheim will also stand its same testament. If I play it on another PC at any time solo, I'm going to have the exact same experience that I had today, even if it's 20 years in the future. Ark, on the other hand, if I go and I play it and I look at it, I'm going to be like, you know what, this is an old game, it got the old graphics. First problem, it's not, you know what, it was meant to be high definition. They could have done a better thing with it. No, this game looks pathetic for this day. That's going to be the reality. It's going to look pathetic for your current day when it's the future. You think about it, the animals are so stupid in Ark. They don't run away from you when you're out of attack range. They attack pointlessly. They run into walls. They get trapped in silly traps. They don't get trapped in difficult traps. You kite them into traps, and it's so obvious that it's a trap that they get caught in. It doesn't even make sense. With all of that being said, those are the problems with Ark. Ark will always have those problems. It would take someone fixing up the AI of creatures, redoing every creature file just to make it seem better. And everything runs off 3 or 4 models. The model for how they fight you, it's all the exact same thing. They attack, 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 run for a little bit, attack again. When you torpoing them, they get too dizzy, they start running away from you at that point. They don't keep attacking. And once it comes to a certain point, they turn around and they attack you again, regardless of how much of torpor they have left. It's pointless. It's an irritating, pointless set of rotations. They can't go around rocks, right? So they don't understand that a rock is in the way you move around, even though the worlds are fixed. They can't navigate around the map properly. So if you go and you're running around with the army and one gets stuck on a rock, it's stuck there. That's the end of it. It's non-navigation. Even if they're following another creature, they can't turn around and head towards the creature at any given time. Those are all the downsides of Ark. And that is all I have to say against Ark for now. In the overall test of time, I am rating Ark's ability to stand the test of time as 3 out of 10. And Valheim's ability to last the test of time for a game, I am rating it 6 out of 10. Now, with those last two, it brings a close to everything on the rating. Valheim wins by 3 points. And since they're both just as addictive, they're both just as intensive in terms of time you play, those ratings would be 10-10. I'm not even going to change it. No, I didn't say 10-10, did I? I gave it a proper rating. I'm not going back through my notes. But nonetheless, those were also put in. They were equal. On that note, I would say that Valheim is as addictive as Ark. Playing Ark, I want to get onto Valheim all the time. I'm just wanting to be back on Velheim because of that lack of that AFK feeling giving you some progress. You know that you want to do something at all times in Val. So yeah, I know that a lot of what I said doesn't make much of a difference to a lot of people, but for all of you out there who are Ark players and need something new or are getting a tedious feeling from Ark, give Valheim a little bit of a try. And if you play both games, I'm suspecting that you might get a little bit agitated and irritated, but it is going to be a fun thing. You're going to have the one game where you literally only need to play 3 hours a day. You can set up everything to be automated and you can AFK 90% of the time in it, which is Ark. Then you can come to Valheim and you can farm in the exact same manner, but you have to be on everything every single second of the day. And that's the beauty of it. It isn't going to hurt you. It's never going to change how you play the game. Then again, I might just do something crazy over here. I might just go and fix up my Grey Dwarf farm later today. Now, my Grey Dwarf farm on Valheim broke because of some type of a glitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in. I'm going to force spawn the the spawner in the right location, and hopefully it will keep spawning everything where I need it to spawn, and I'll be able to keep farming Great Dwarfs on my server, pack up as much stone as I need, head over to another server, and build up everything as quickly as possible. So I hope to catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.